Hey guys, in case you haven't noticed already, I have a huge range of interests, which keep me busy on a daily basis. New among that list are these little buildable Transformers figurines by Blokees. Now, as you'll see here, I already have quite a collection of them, focusing mainly on the Dinobots and the Constructicons, among others. These are some new additions that I've picked up. I haven't tried them yet, the Shining version. They seem to be a little bit more intricate, maybe a little bit more detailed, and I think they have a glowing element to them. So we're going to open them up and see which ones we get, and I'll actually build them on the video here. Now, as I mentioned, these are a little bit bigger. The boxes are at least bigger than the regular ones, which I have been building. Mainly I've been focusing on these Galaxy versions. Here's the first series that came out, and you can see here the array of characters that came in this series. And we have a lot of the Generation 1 Transformers. We have Optimus Prime, we have Prowl, Jazz, Ironhide, Ratchet, of course Megatron, Thundercracker, Skywarp, and Blue Streak. And there's always the chance of getting one of the secret, differently colored versions of one of the characters in each of these boxes. So this is, as I said, the Galaxy version. You can see how the boxes compare. Now, unlike the Galaxy version, where we have a choice of 9 different characters, in the Shining version there's only 6 different ones. And once again we see that there's a chance of getting the secret figure, which in this case is the Optimus Prime. Now our selection, or our potential pulls here, are pretty interesting. We have Optimus Prime, Grimlock, Sideswipe, Soundwave, Sunstorm, and Beachcomber. And as I mentioned before, the secret figure will be an Optimus Prime. Now, I wouldn't mind any one of these characters. I might be a little bit disappointed if I get Beachcomber, but any of the other ones I'm going to be pretty happy with. So why don't we open these up and see what we get. These boxes are never simple to open. I'd like to actually save them if I could open them a little bit nicer. So, let's see. This is fairly typical for the Galaxy series. We get a bag with most of the pieces here, and another bag with some pieces on sprues. This comes with a little bit more instructions than usual because of the battery element here. We don't need to look at all of that. The instructions. Now, they'll show instructions for pretty thorough for one of the figures, and then sort of slimmed down and specialized instructions for the other figures, for the different unique elements that are in there. All right, so I may keep those instructions out. I'm pretty adept at building these, having built so many of the Galaxy ones. But I don't know how different these are going to be from the Galaxy. So let's check these out. Okay, so make sure we get all the pieces out of that bag. I can already tell that we got Sideswipe, which I'm not unhappy about. He's one of my faves. Okay, corral all these pieces. Now this bag is pretty standard from figure to figure. We have a base. I'll just put that over there for now. A sprue with some hands. Silica gel, that's in there sometimes. And a couple of sprues. These should be identical with the various joint pieces. All right, so let's see how well I can build this without looking at the instruction. So here is our light up element, and it has a little pull out tab here. Now the way that these generally work is you just tap them and you see how it's sort of glowing there. That light will funnel up into the head and make the eyes glow when it's fully assembled. All right, so let's see here. Now, hopefully I can build this without really looking too much at the instructions. So we'll need 2 of these sort of shoulder joints. And in the back piece. And then the torso is pretty much done. I think this backpack will go on as well. But maybe we'll hold off on that for a little bit. All right. Let's see, the waist is pretty standard. Sometimes there's printing on these. Let's see if there is in this case. Yes, there is. So the front has a little printing of an arrow there, whereas the back does not. All right, so the abdomen is pretty much done. Now, let's work on the legs. So the legs, these are going to be the front. The legs are usually in 2 pieces. Sometimes they're symmetric. In this case, they are going to be different. So this is going to be his right leg. Okay, so these ankle ball joints are often very difficult to get on by themselves, but I find that if you just grab the foot and then apply some pressure, you can get it on fairly easily. I'm not really sure that that's on yet, though. There we go. All right. And we'll do the same thing to this one. Still not on. I didn't hear the big crunch. There we go. Okay, so then we have these sort of knee and elbow joints. Now, in the newer series of the Galaxy, of the series of figurines, they actually come pre-assembled. They're not on these sprues anymore. I am having a bit of a trouble getting these together. And we're back. That took an insane amount of time to put these things together, but I just did all 4 of the joints so we can just carry on with the build. So these are a little hard on the fingers, so I sometimes use the thighs to just push those joints further in there. And we'll do that the same with this one. Nice, satisfying clicks. Okay, so we're now ready to put the legs onto the torso. All right. Feet are a little bit askew, but that's okay. Now, let's continue on with the arms, let's say. Okay, so here is our lower arm piece. And, whoops. And we'll use the upper arm to snap that in. Now, unless there's a specific attachment that uses this hole here, I usually make it so that it goes onto the inside so that you don't see it as easily. And then we have the shoulder pieces, which sometimes can be a little difficult to determine which direction they go, but I think they go like that. So that's the one arm. All right. On to the second. Okay. And generally I like to put the hands on a while. Most of my Transformers are right-handed, so I usually put the gripping fist in the right hand and maybe a action splayed fingers kind of pose in the left hand. All right, then we just go ahead and snap these on. It's a little bit trickier than the legs just because of the way that elbow joint works. Sometimes I'll angle that down a little bit so that I can snap it on there easily. All right, so this is missing something. Ah, the head, that's right. Okay, so the head can come in multiple pieces. Let's see here. So I'm imagining these are the eyes. These are the front and back of the helmet. And here's the face. So we'll go ahead and just snap the eyes. This could work. Let's see, there we go. Snap the eyes into the face. Then the best way to do this is, let's say, probably to snap this into the back. And then to put the front of the helmet on. All right. Sometimes you have to apply a little pressure so that the head fits nice and snugly together. And there's our sort of ball joint. Ah, that's right, we're missing that. So we're going to use one of those same little pins that we used for the feet, for the ankles, and snap the head onto that. Make sure that it's all the way snapped on. I think so. Seems to be. Ah, there we go. Just had to apply a little bit more pressure, and there we have almost completed robot. Now, we do have this backpack. So the backpack goes on like so. It's more like a jetpack. And for this, I am actually going to refer to the instructions here, which are specific for Sideswipe. Aha! Looks like I did something wrong. I should have looked ahead. There's actually some parts here that require those holes on the hands. Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but not that big of a problem. We just take these off. And I think we can, no, I think we're gonna have to take it more apart than I thought. And we'll rotate that. Take this other hand off. So you can see if you make a mistake, it's not that big of a deal. It sort of comes apart fairly easily. And we just snap the arms back on. I have seen people online do mashups where they take parts. The parts are fairly interchangeable between characters. So, like you could use the arms from Optimus Prime and the body of Megatron, for instance. All right, so the instructions are telling me that these are sort of little armor plates that go on the side here. That'll teach me to not look at the instructions. Okay, now this jetpack actually has some parts as well. So we have these sort of blast lights, I guess. I don't know what you want to call them, but they attach here to simulate sort of a flight motion with this jetpack. Kind of strange. Not sure I like it, but I don't know. I think it's okay. We can add the gun in the hand. And finally, we have the little shoulder mounted gun. Oh, this usually just goes together. Ah, of course. When you do it the right way, it goes together a lot easier. It goes right up here next to the head. Easy peasy. We got an extra one of these pins, a couple of extra hands. We got an energon cube. That's not in every package, but sometimes you get lucky. And then we have the base. So I usually don't worry about the positioning too much until I get him on the base, because then I can fine-tune everything. Maybe put the gun into a firing position. Hopefully you can see the eyes glowing there. It's pretty neat. Oh, yeah, I think it's easy to see. And we have our sort of jet trails in the back there. All right, first one done. But if you remember, we did have two of them. Let's see what we get for this other one. Hopefully it's not the same one. The moment of truth. Please don't be Beachcomber or another side swipe. Hey, this is what I was hoping for, Optimus Prime. And this will work really well with the rest of my collection. So we got Optimus. We don't have the special version. If you remember from the package, there was a special chase version, but we just got the regular one. And you'll notice that they do actually vary up the colors somewhat for these sprues. Optimus has blue hands, and the joint pieces are red. Yeah, maybe this is a standard for these Shining ones, that they come with an energon cube. For the Galaxy ones, it seemed to be fairly rare. All right, rather than put you through watching me fumble through building this next one, I'm just going to skip ahead to the good part where we see the finished model. And here we have the finished model. I didn't really point out too much before how posable these things are, but you can put them into fairly any pose that you could imagine. They have articulation in the wrists, elbows, shoulders, waist, knees, ankles. I'm really glad that I got this Optimus Prime. And let's see if I can trigger the light function. I don't see it happening. But I want to point out the difference between this one, this Optimus Prime, and which is the Shining version, and the Optimus Prime from the Galaxy version. Here they are standing side by side. And right away you can notice a number of differences. There's a lot more detail in the Shining version. The gun is pretty, it's different. It's a little bit different. Most notably, though, are the wheels on the feet and on the waist. We don't see any representation of the wheels in the Galaxy version. The exhaust pipes are also much more detailed in the Shining version. I do think I like the windows in the Galaxy version more so than I like the Shining version, though. They're pretty much the same size in terms of height, but for detail, the Shining version is definitely the winner. You also have, it's hard to tell probably, but sort of on Optimus Prime's face, his mouth plate looks sort of chromified on the Shining version, whereas it's just flat gray on the Galaxy version. I guess the Autobot symbols are a lot more noticeable on the Galaxy version than they are over here, but I think the details overshadow that one drawback. Anyway, hope you liked this this run through of the Blokees Transformer figures. Definitely worth picking up. I've actually built some of the bigger ones too, and some of the smaller ones. I think they're called the Defender series. They're probably about half the size of these, and they look just like miniaturized, cartoonized versions of our the Transformers figures. They're not really my favorite, but I've bought a couple of them when my kids wanted to go pick some up. So anyway, I hope you liked the video. See you next time.